Hi, my name is Haydon.
And my name is Lindsey Wolfe. We are part of the BSN RN program at West Coast University Dallas campus. We are doing an article critique for our epidemiology class on multiple sclerosis and socioeconomic risk associated with developing it.
Our article is titled Socioeconomic Factors in Childhood and the Risks of Multiple Sclerosis. It was written by Nate Nielsen, Christian Jorgensen, Peter Bagger, Egon Steniger, Bo Pedersen, Heinrich Hilgrim, Niels Koch-Heinrichsen, and Morten Frisch. We retrieved it from the American Journal of Epidemiology.
A group of researchers debated the idea that socioeconomic factors play a role in the incidence of multiple sclerosis. They begin with a quick overview of the etiology of multiple sclerosis and its known associated risk. Between the years 1966 and 1992, the Danish Multiple Sclerosis Registry identified a total of 2,205 cases of men and women with multiple sclerosis. Their methods took an approximate 8 million Danish residents and scaled it down to roughly 1.5 million people born in Denmark to Danish-born parents. According to Nielsen, the cohort of people contributed person years at risk for his or her 15th birthday until their multiple sclerosis diagnosis, date of death, immigration from Denmark, disappearance, or until the conclusion of the study on January 1, 2008. The researchers concluded that there was no strong correlation between the socioeconomic status and the incidence of multiple sclerosis. However, they found a separate, slight correlation between maternal education level and decreased incidence of multiple sclerosis.
A strength in the study that it identified in itself was the fact that it is one of, if not the only nationwide cohort studies conducted on socioeconomic childhood incidences of multiple sclerosis. Another strength it identified was the use of the Danish Multiple Sclerosis Registry that prides itself in validity and completeness of information. A weakness it identified of itself was that their study was conducted on those at the age of 15, which is not really a relevant age for exposure to childhood diseases. They reconstructed the study on those at the age of 7 and found almost no difference in risk incidence. Another factor that we found limited the study was that it was solely conducted on those living in Denmark with Danish-born parents. There could have been differences in the results had the study included more nations. We found a similar study conducted in the early 1970s that found a lower incidence of multiple sclerosis in Japanese American citizens at 2 different collection sites in California and Washington state.
Multiple sclerosis impacts public health because it is a chronic, life-changing disease. Though it is not communicable, it is hereditary and affects the family of the sufferer too. According to Mayo Clinic, it is twice as likely to occur in women as men. It generally occurs before the age of 40, and it is related to first-degree relatives. Simply, if your parent or sibling develops it, there is a high risk that you can develop it too.
For example, my half-sister was diagnosed about 18 months ago with multiple sclerosis. It has personally affected me because it leaves me wondering if I might one day develop it. This disease has severely impacted her quality of life. It has affected her ability to try and conceive a child with her husband. It's affected her job and even her mobility. She has done a remarkable job of adapting to the disease, things I couldn't imagine just getting used to. She does, and it just doesn't bother her anymore. But it bothers me, and it bothers everyone who doesn't even have to walk in her shoes.
There is a lot of mystery surrounding multiple sclerosis. It is very poorly understood, and really the only known factors that contribute to the development of it are genetics and environmental factors. The researchers wanted to create a study that looked at the environmental factors that surrounded those with multiple sclerosis, paying close attention to seemingly irrelevant childhood instigators such as paternal education level, income level, and living arrangements.
The hypothesis of the study was not implicitly stated, but we believe it goes something like, childhood socioeconomic factors greatly influence the incidence of multiple sclerosis later in life. The results of the research negated the original hypothesis, however, it leaves the option open to pursue other studies more closely related to maternal and paternal educational level.
The major results found that there was no strong correlation between socioeconomic status and development of MS. However, they did find that there was a slight decreased incidence of development of multiple sclerosis related to maternal education level.
Analyses of the cohort's outcome of multiple sclerosis were recorded by calendar year of July 1st of their year of diagnoses, but if the individual died the same year, it was recorded as 1 month before their death. Socioeconomic status was split into 2 categories: household member split into two categories: household members with subcontent, either married with children, cohabitating unmarried with children, single persons living with children, and children not living at home, and maternal paternal level of education with subcontent, either primary, secondary, or higher, split into short, medium, or long level of education, and this was all before the child's 15th birthday. Results of the outcomes of multiple sclerosis in the person years at risk were stratified according to the values of maternal and paternal educational level, household category, number of other children in the household, 0, 1, 2, more or missing, and the household income. The statistical analysis was carried out as a log linear Gaussian regression analysis. By reviewing this study, Lindsey and I learned that there is a lot more that goes into the development of multiple sclerosis than just hereditary factors. Multiple sclerosis is a complex disorder that things you wouldn't expect to play a role can affect the development of it. The study found that maternal educational level showed slightly decreased incidence of multiple sclerosis in their children, which tells us that something seemingly so insignificant affects the body in the course of life.
The takeaway we want our audience to have is that the body is much more complex that maybe we give it credit for, and there are things past, present, and future that are shaping us and how our body responds to either adapts or maladapts to adversity. Because multiple sclerosis is an autoimmune disorder, environmental factors play a huge role, so something like how much education your mother has can positively or negatively affect your future. Thanks!
Thank you.